This episode will cover aircraft materials, hardware, and processes. What property is essential for metals used in making wire and tubing? The property of ductility. What is a suitable non-destructive testing method for detecting surface cracks on aluminum castings and forgings? The dye-penetrant inspection method detects surface cracks with equal success on aluminum, magnesium, brass, copper, and titanium. It can also be used on ceramics, plastics, and glass. List the steps in a dye-penetrant inspection. 1. Thoroughly clean the material's surface. 2. Apply the penetrant for the specified dwell time. 3. Remove the penetrant with water or emulsifying cleaner. 4. Dry the part. 5. Apply the developer. 6. Inspect the results. Describe the procedure for performing a magnetic particle inspection. Thoroughly clean all grease, oil, and dirt from the metal part, which must be of ferrous material, such as iron or steel. Magnetize the part and then apply ferromagnetic particles, either held in liquid suspension or in dry powder form, to the area to be inspected. If a discontinuity is present, the magnetized particles will form a grip length pattern in the approximate shape of the discontinuity. What are the two types of self-locking nuts? All metal and fiber lock. What is the general rule for using self-locking nuts? Do not use self-locking nuts at joints which are subject to rotation. What type of cable is used in primary control systems? Extra flexible 7x19 cable. How can the correct grip length of a bolt be determined? The grip length should equal the total thickness of the materials being joined together. The grip of a bolt is the unthreaded portion of the bolt shank. The length of an AN standard bolts are measured in what fraction? Eighths of an inch. What does the triangle mean on the head of a steel bolt? That it is a close tolerance bolt. What numbers are used for close tolerance bolts? AN 173 through AN 186 for hex bolts, and NAS 80 through NAS 86 for countersunk. What is the difference between a standard bolt and a close tolerance bolt? A close tolerance bolt is machined to more precise dimensions and is used in high performance applications. A solid rivet diameter is always measured in what fraction? (30 seconds of an inch). Describe a riv nut. It is a threaded body that is expanded to the aircraft structure. What is the purpose of a channel nut and a nut plate? Both nuts allow a screw or bolt to be installed without needing to hold the nut with a wrench. What are common materials for cotter pins to be made from? Low carbon steel and stainless steel. What is the smallest cable that can be used in primary control systems? 1/8 in diameter. What should be the depth of penetration when making a fillet weld? Penetration should be 25 to 50% of the thickness of base metal. What precision measuring instruments are used to measure outside dimensions? Outside micrometer and vernier calipers. What term describes a metal that is based on iron? Ferrous alloy. What should be the width of the weld bead and depth of penetration when making a butt weld? The bead width should be 3 to 5 times the thickness of the base metal, and there should be 100% penetration. What system is used to identify AN-type aircraft bolts? Aircraft bolts have code markings on the bolt heads for identification. Bolt diameter is measured in 1/16 of an inch, and length is measured in 1/8 of an inch increments. What is the difference between a close tolerance and a regular AN bolt? Close tolerance bolts are used in applications where the bolted joint is subject to severe vibrations and load reversals. Also, close tolerance bolts are machined to a more precise standards and must be driven in by a hammer. What are the steps for solution heat treating aluminum alloys? The alloy must be heated to a predetermined temperature, heat-soaked for a specified period, and then rapidly quenched to a relatively low temperature. In what state is aluminum alloy immediately after solution heat treating and quenching? The alloy is in a comparatively soft state, so the material must be naturally aged or precipitation hardened. What is done to prevent certain aluminum alloy rivets from becoming hard after heat treating and quenching? The rivets are stored in a refrigerator at a temperature lower than 32 degrees Fahrenheit. The rivets will remain soft for several days. They are also called icebox rivets. What do rivet head markings indicate? The alloy of the rivet. Why is alloy steel that is responsive to heat treatment usually less suitable for welding? Because of its tendency to become brittle and lose its ductility around the weld. Why should steel be normalized after welding or machining? To remove internal stress of the metal, thereby reducing brittleness. What are two methods of case hardening? Carburizing and nitriding. What are the characteristics of a cold weld? A cold weld has improper penetration and cold lapse caused by insufficient heat. It appears rough and irregular, and its edges are not feathered into the base metal. What should be used to make a visual inspection of a weld? A magnifying glass of at least 10 times. What tools are used to measure the outside dimensions of shafts, thickness of sheet metal stock, diameter of drills, or for many other similar applications? Outside micrometer or caliper. Name some type of non-destructive testing used on non-ferrous materials. eddy current, dye penetrant, X-ray, coin tap, and visual inspection. Which non-destructive test method can be performed without removing the surface coatings such as primer, paint, and anodized films, and is effective in detecting surface and subsurface corrosion? Eddy current inspection method. What is the most common type of corrosion? Surface corrosion. What does a 1/4-20 bolt mean? Bolt diameter and thread count. Why should a micrometer be periodically calibrated? To help ensure micrometer accuracy. A solid rivet length is measured in what fractional increments? Sixteenths of an inch. What are some types of washers used on aircraft? Spring lock washer, flat washer, lock tooth washer, tab washer, finishing washer. What is an MSDS? Material Safety Data Sheet. What class bolts are used on aircraft? Class 3 bolts. What occurs during the preparation stages when penetrant inspection liquid is applied to and then removed from a part that is cracked? Penetrating liquid enters the crack and remains there to make the crack visible after developer is applied. What do the markings on the head of a solid shank rivet indicate? The material they are made of, and their strength. How can the torque for a bolt or nut be determined when the torque is not listed in maintenance procedures? From the information found in the standard torque table. Which steel alloy is noted for its toughness and is most used for aircraft tubular structure, such as frame members, engine mounts, landing gear parts, and other structural parts? Chrome molybdenum steel. How is work hardening obtained? By cold working metal. What portable hardness tester is commonly used for testing aluminum alloys, copper, brass, and other relatively soft material? Barcode tester. What is the main difference between thermoplastics and thermosetting resins? Thermoplastic resins can be softened by heat and become hard again. Thermosetting resins do not soften when heated and will char and burn rather than melt. What is the purpose for thermoplastic and thermosetting resins? Thermoplastic acrylic is used for windshields. Thermosetting resins are commonly used as matrix materials in composites. Name the type of materials commonly used as the reinforcing component in structural composite laminates. Kevlar, fiberglass, or graphite. Name the substance commonly used as the matrix material in structural composite laminates. Polyester resin and epoxy resin. Name one advantage of using pre-impregnated materials over non-pre-impregnated materials in the construction or repair of composite components. Pre-impregnated fabrics contains the proper amount of matrix. The reinforcing fibers are completely and evenly permeated with matrix. The matrix has the correct proportions of resin and hardener. What class threads are used on aircraft? Class 3 threads. What is another name for aramid material? Kevlar. What is a plug used to repair threads? Helicoil. Name 2 measurement systems used for aircraft hardware. SAE and metric. How would you repair a thread which is damaged? Helicoil. Why is TIG preferred over flux welding? It produces the highest quality weld. What are 3 differences between aluminum and copper wire? Size, weight, and price. What kind of bolts are used in landing gear? Steel. What type of solder bonds wires? Soft solder.